My marriage is completely sexless, and it wasn't a problem until now. I, 31 male, and my wife, 34 female, have been married for almost 10 years. She had just graduated college the spring prior, and I was closing in on a journalism degree as well. We're pretty well off on the money side. We decided pretty early that we wanted kids down the line, but it was better to start slow. But over the last year and change, I'm a little disheartened by something. We had more sex in our first 3 years of marriage than the last 6+ years combined. I thought back, and in the past 6 years, I can recall 8 occasions where we've engaged in any form of sex. When I was younger, I would have never thought sex would ever become a deal breaker for me. But I'm nearing that point now, and I'm ashamed to say, I even turned to masturbation over the last year. Not chronically, I did it no more than a couple times a month, but I've noticed that I have felt better this past year than any of the prior 5 years. By far. I did see a therapist and am on the autism spectrum, and he informed me that the human body often craves to have some form of sexual stimuli. And he told me while every person's drive for it is different, he essentially told me to listen to my own body, but he recommended telling her the truth as well. I am a bleeding heart, and I hate keeping anything secret. So I worked up the courage for a few days, and back in March, I confided in my wife what I was doing, and I was crying as I did this. I think it was the only reason she didn't scream at me, but I could tell she was definitely not happy about what she was hearing, and I understood that completely. We discussed it for a little while, and we decided that I would stop masturbating, and she said that she would try to initiate more, but I'm realizing just how empty that conclusion was. I've held up my end. I have not masturbated, and she has full access to my search history. But we have not had sex once in the month since, and it ate away at me between April and May. In early May, I got really suspicious and began pressing as to who else could be involved, to which she got really offended, but I was just stumped at this point. We got in an argument, and I asked her why she's so disinterested in why I've become such a roommate to her. In my mind, there had to be somebody else. But I was wrong. She allowed me to search through her phone, even thought that's not really what I cared about. I found nobody even remotely suspicious, but that made me feel even worse, which frustrated her greatly. She genuinely dislikes me so much that she would rather not even cheat and stay with me just to, isolate me? I have a supportive friend group, and we do stuff all the time. We all play for the local hockey team as well, and that's been an amazing escape for me these past few months. But I've been asking her the last few weeks constantly about marriage counseling, or about just doing things together. I've asked her if she still wants a kid. She says yes to kids, no to marriage counseling, and she always says we can do something when we both have time. Last week, I asked her why she wouldn't do marriage counseling and why she won't even really comfort me. It's not even about sex at this point. She barely acknowledges me emotionally, and why she even rejects my advances. She got really short and told me to grow up and that I don't need a hug for every little problem I run into, which hurt me badly, and she immediately backpedaled on that statement after I started to cry. I can tell she regretted saying it. But despite her attempts to say otherwise, I know she meant it, and I've made it clear that I know. Over the past week, I've come to accept that she more than likely hates me, and that breaks my heart. I initially made this account back when I started asking about couples counseling, and I had really hoped I'd be posting about how we've worked on our marriage. Today, I just booked a hotel room for the next few days, and I'm just going to see how I do without her for a few days. I'm not going to tell her where I am, or that I'm even leaving at all, but my ringer for her is on at full volume the whole time. I took time off of work for this as well. My colleagues were really understanding, but were also very visibly concerned for me, but I'm honestly fine. I don't know why I don't have the guts to just call a divorce lawyer now and get it over with, but I want to make fully sure I'm making the right decision here. I just want to know if she'd even notice I'm gone. I want to know if the comforting, loving woman I married is still there for me. I may update this in the coming few days if things improve, but if not, I'll leave it at this. I just needed to air this out and scream into a pillow for a few hours. My thoughts. I hope you've considered putting the idea of having kids completely off the table. She neglects you emotionally and physically, refuses counseling, and imposes restrictions on your personal choices, which sounds controlling and possibly abusive. It's clear that the issue extends beyond just sex now. It's fortunate that children aren't part of this situation. Trust your instincts and prioritize your happiness. You know deep down what you deserve and what steps you need to take. Best of luck to you. Did you miss my previous video? How dare you? Just kidding. Catch you in this video?